Great. Thank you so much for joining me for this discussion again for this particular Sunday. Unfortunately, last Sunday I was not able to do a video because I was suffering from a flu, and that was not able for me to make a video for this. But today I'm back, and actually I'm going to talk about targeted and value-driven volunteering. And the reason as why I'm doing this, I got a request and an inquiry from one of my young colleagues as well. And the question was, I would want to volunteer. Which organizations would you recommend? Where can I go? And how do I become better at my kind of skill that I want to gain from this institution? Disclaimer: personally, as an individual and as a professional, I believe in volunteering in courses and actually interest pursuits that we have an interest in. If I'm going to volunteer in a children homes, let's say for example in that particular case, I'm volunteering because I believe I have particular skill sets that that particular institution needs, and I'm offering it from a point of social value, social impact driven volunteership rather than the domain of volunteering where I go to a particular institution and offer my services at a point where they are making income and actually generating returns and revenue from my services, which is not in terms of charity, but rather it is a business. But unfortunately, the reality is people still volunteer in such kind of establishment, and the reason as to why people offer their services and volunteer in such cases is because we need to look for jobs. And that is why most people are actually, even in this case, when somebody is asking me about volunteering, it's not that they're passionate about volunteering. It's not that they're passionate about dedicating additional time to volunteer in that organization and to work for them and offer the services. But rather, it is an avenue one for them to gain experience and work in that organization during that period. So they're willing to actually forego the income they would make over that period of time to be able to gain a particular skill working in that organization. That is the first thing. The other option is they're working for that organization. As they gain skills, they are hoping and actually praying that in the subsequent recruitment cycle, once they volunteered with that organization, they stand a better chance of being granted an opportunity to continue working with that organization. In other words, they actually mark timing for the next opportunity, for the next job that would open up in that organization, and they believe it is better and is more likely for them to get such a job by being in that organization. So the volunteering is an opportunity, is actually the first step into getting a job with that organization. These are the approaches that we have in the dynamics of how life is. And unfortunately, they might not be the ideal that we would have wished for, but it is the reality. So the question then is, if you're going to go this route in getting your first foot into the organization, that is one, or gaining the skills that you feel like once you gain them from that institution, you are able to apply them in your other pursuits and your other professional journeys, then what do you need to do? What you need to do is you need to be targeted, and being targeted in the sense that one, as a professional, what are my interests in terms of long-term careers? You might not be so clear about what that interest is, but definitely and most likely there is a professional that you look up to. So go back to LinkedIn as a social media platform and look at it as a professional network and ask yourself, I look up to David. What has David done? Where is David working? And what are the skills that he has? And the goodness of LinkedIn is you can see the job they're doing, you can see the organization they're working in, and also the skills that they've acquired, and even where possible, recommendations or even the content that they've shared on their page, the content they've created. So that serves as a way for you to understand and see, would I want to do that job where this person is? Am I really in tune with that? Where can I gain the skills that are needed for such kind of a level? Because I'm looking forward to being in such a level in my career journey. That is a good point to start. So the first thing is understanding what skill sets do I want to gain and where do I want to take my career. It has to be targeted in the sense that you're not going to volunteer in a clinical setting if you don't want to be in the clinical setting. You're not going to volunteer, let's say, for example, in academia, yet in your personal professional journey is to go into the clinical trials or clinical research work. That would be kind of counterproductive in the sense that you're gaining skills that are not directly transferable to your next role. And definitely for you to be able to make a living out of your skill sets and your professional competencies, then you need to be able to earn a revenue from it. And to be able to earn a revenue from the work that you're doing, there's need for a match in terms of the skill sets you have and the job that needs them. Therefore, at that particular moment, you're blending them and you're getting a focus on where your journey goes in the professional journey. So that is important for you to understand what skill set does it need and how do I get to understand those skill sets. Once you've known the skill set that you need, you also need to be specific in terms of which sector, which industry would I want to practice. Do I want to work in the healthcare sector? Do I want to work in the financial markets? Do I want to work in the academic space? Or do I want to go to technological space? And which companies are in those spaces that are doing the job that I would want to do, that are willing to actually offer me these internship or volunteering opportunities that I need to be able to acquire the skills and to understand the industry dynamics within that space. So that is another thing. You have to know the domain and the industry where you want to work. And the reason as to why offering yourself in those kind of industries is important for you as a professional is that if I'm working in the financial sector, or volunteering in the financial sector, and my interest is to grow in the financial sector, chances are when we have these corporate engagements and corporate forums, I'm likely to meet people in the financial sector. And when I'm meeting them, I'm networking and I'm able to plug in and see how can I grow from what volunteering I have. Let's say, for example, I made a commitment to volunteer for 3 months in company A. Then in the process of volunteering for the 3 months, I get to meet a CEO or a leader from company X that is looking to get somebody with first background understanding of the dynamics of that industry. Two, technical capabilities and the skills. So it means already I've networked with the right person able to get me the job, if not from the company A where I'm already volunteering. But at the same time, I have the background knowledge and the skill set by virtue of having volunteered at that level. So therefore, you are transferring your volunteering skills and the market domain background knowledge and understanding from being in that space in terms of your volunteering. So that is a good important point for you to acknowledge and also to start from in terms of shaping your career. Then once you've known the dynamics of the company, the organization that you're working with, and the other value propositions, then you need to be intentional and you need to be focused on asking for those volunteering opportunities. Reach out to platforms that you can get access to these opportunities. Reach out to the individual that can grant you those opportunities. And I'll give you an example in terms of the work that we're doing within Recalture and our mentorship program, the Youth Voices Network. We're getting young professionals and young people into the network. We offer trainings and capacity building programs. But beyond the capacity building, we are leveraging on our industry networks to see how do we get you internship opportunities? How do you get you volunteering opportunities? And how do you then use these to be a better professional and an expert? And beyond those, we're also looking at establishing our in house projects. And in these in house projects, including with our partners, we're able to give you an opportunity to deliver services, to be an expert at what you do, but at the same time, position you for your next career move. Because at the end of the day, you can work with us long term, which is a commendable thing, but we might not be able to give those jobs to everyone. We don't have as many opportunities. So, how do we then get other opportunities from our networks and prepare you for them in your professional development journey? And that is a good approach and a good starting point for us in terms of how we are going about them. So you need to make the ask and you need to be available in the platform and the opportunities where such kind of opportunities might arise for you to be able to tap into them. That is important for you. Then the next bit is, where do you get those skills? You also need to go for the companies where you believe you'll be given the support. Once you've been in the platforms and you've accessed all the probable opportunities that you need to be able to make a choice, and you need to be making a choice based on what value do I believe I can deliver in this company. Because at the end of the day, one key thing I remember last week, I was in one of my mentorship groups that are with some of my colleagues and my peers. We were having conversations. How do we grow to be better professionals? How do we deliver impact, especially where the culture might not be that supportive? And the key bit is, what do I offer? What do I stand to deliver in this company? And once you've understood what you stand to deliver in that organization, then when you're going to that company, you already know, when I'm going to take this volunteering opportunity, these are the skill sets that I have. These are my capabilities and my interest in terms of growth. So you supporting the company in its mission and its agenda, that is one. And two, as you do that, you're already developing a portfolio of deliverables and programs that you're managing. That means at the end of the day, you'll have something to show for your contribution for the 2 3 months that you're in that facility, and that is very critical in the sense that in the next frontier in terms of career opportunities, professional development, pursuits, and interests, most employers and most companies are looking at what is the evidence of the work that you've done. How does it look in our dynamics? And do you have a portfolio, something to show for it? And I'll give you an example. If you engage with me on my LinkedIn page, you can see during my internship, there are different projects that I've been doing. And even now, I'm still doing multiple different projects, not only for the employment, but in the sense that at a personal level, I'm able to reflect on my journey and I'm able to see what are the next frontiers in my development, what have been the consistent trail in terms of themes of what I'm doing and what I'm working on. Then with that constant theme and constant areas in terms of interest, I'm able to course correct, improve, and actually develop a portfolio of the advances that I'm working on. So you need to be able to know which company do I want to work with, what value can I deliver to them. And when you're able to deliver that value, you already have an impact, and therefore that can also be an addition to your CV, in the sense that when you have your CV, you're capturing achievements. It's something that is intentional, deliberate, and at the end of the day, you have extra value. And the other bit around that value and deliverables is the sense that when you're looking for a volunteering opportunity as an avenue to have your foot into the door first, and also to be able to see gain the skills for you to get a job in that company in the long term, if that is what you're looking at, chances are it will be dependent on what value did you deliver during your volunteering opportunity. If you didn't deliver value, chances are the company will not want to retain you. They might even recruit somebody from outside with no experience in the company or just from school, because they believe that person probably is more valuable in terms of their predisposition and in coming into the company. But you having experience and having not delivered much, you might not be given preferential consideration. And that would be a loss, in the sense that you've dedicated time, volunteered, and worked with them, but then there was no specific intentionality. And that is something you need to be intentional about. You need to be deliberate, and you need to see how do I deliver on that. And in all these cases, then for me, is you position yourself, you want to get a volunteer opportunity, ask yourself why you need it first. If you want to deliver that value and actually support something that you're passionate about, that is good enough. And I do a lot of such kind of volunteering, including creating content where I need to offering mentorship and talking to young people in different schools and different institutions, because I believe that is additional value to humanity. But if you're going to go volunteer by the virtue that I'm hoping to get a job, I'm hoping to get employment in this company, or I'm getting skills from these organizations, then you need to know what skills do you need, which kind of career trajectory do you envision for yourself, how do you get them, which company, which sector do you want to work in. Then be intentional in being in the right platforms. After being in the right platforms, deliver value in those platforms where you're granted. At the end of the day, you're able to develop a portfolio of the work that you're doing. Most likely, I'd recommend please document your contributions, your perspectives, and your ideas, because by documenting them and actually by generating that knowledge pool, that content that you're creating in terms of whatever you're doing, you're giving yourself a chance to reflect on your journey, to reflect on your career. And as you're doing that, you're becoming a better professional, you're becoming a better driver for development in the sector and every other space that you're in. And therefore, your volunteering experience or your professional development journey will be on a different trajectory than every other person who is going out there to volunteer for the sake of volunteering and not being intentional about the value they're delivering and the value you want to get out of that experience. If you enjoy the conversation and you're feeling this is valuable for you, please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep engaging. Let's promote the knowledge. And most importantly, share with your friends, your colleagues who might find value in this discussion. Thank you so much. And let's engage again next Sunday.